In this lesson, we're going to learn that how we can make an abstract art. Most of our focus in this class was about the realistic art. But what is abstract? It's that you simplify a shape. I talked about this in another video, that abstract is coming from whatever that you see in nature, around yourself, in people, and you simplified it and you can break the shape, a fragment of this. Then this is our focus, how we make everything's abstract. And again, we talk about this, that most of people, they're using of the word of abstract instead of non-representational or non-objective. Non-objective or non-representational, you cannot see anything that has a gesture of whatever that we can see around ourselves. But abstract, you can see that it's a flower or it's a person. Maybe you can see just the eye, but you can recognize the object. But in the non-objective, no, it can be a bunch of the geometric shape or some things that you cannot recognize it. You see the still life that I'm using, and I'm just coming with some idea. Okay, then this is my flower. I'm gonna make one flower here. You see, coming with some idea and see how it's working. I want to make the shape of these rows here and making another rows like that, then this is, and I want to continue, but not, with the exactly connected fragment of my rows. And it can be coming here, and you see that I have that part that it can be, with the different shapes. Then this is that you just come with the some idea of what you want to do. Use of your charcoal and wine charcoal, and try to just having some idea about the abstract and how you want to make it. I'm gonna make it a little smaller this times, and seeing that, okay, I'm gonna start with these jar things. You see that I don't want to make it like I'm looking of this from the side. I want to look at this from top, and the shape that I see here, maybe I want to just make it flat. Or the best things and other things that you can do, I'm gonna talk about this after that. You see, I can add that I can see the bottom part of this jar too. Remember, this was some things that Cubism did. They're looking of object and they're making it from the different perspective and view. And this is the handle that I have here. So another things that we can just use of this is thinking about the shape, like completely like that you make it geometric. Then if I'm coming and make it here, I can say, okay, I have this one here, and make it geometric. Then it can be maybe easier for you, but look at the object and say, okay, this is, I don't want to, it's completely connect to that one. Or the leaves that we have, it can be, be creative with what you see. You see that I can make it a little different, but like that. I want having the apple here. The apple can be, okay, this is the center of apple that I see. I can see that it's coming like this shape, and I want to have the sticks here. You see that I overlap it, and I have a skeleton. You see that I don't think about proportion a lot. I'm changing the proportion. I'm changing the place. So for the skull that I have, just I'm gonna come again. I'm trying to make it very very geometric, and okay, it's coming like this one, and this is the don't make them cartoonish a lot, you know, try to still having the abstract that it's not cartoonish, okay? And I'm gonna make it very large here. So this is the a lot of, you know, option that we have. I can see that I want to have a rose here, and I want to make it like that. Then but you have to think about your composition. You cannot say that okay, it's just the abstract and we don't have to look at the balance. We have to. I see that most of my things is here. I need some things here. I want to have another apple here, okay? Then I'm gonna make the another apple here, and maybe with some kind of the again fragment of this. Then this is that you're just playing first with your abstract, then you can draw it in your drawing. Okay, I'm ready with the my drawing from my still life that I had, and as you see, we don't have the mouth here, and I put the teeth and mouth here. I just want you to see that it doesn't have to be exactly in the same place. You can change, and showing a fragment of this somewhere else. You can see in a lot of the Picasso's work that the eye is in somewhere that you don't expect it. Then just again on your with the charcoal and or pencil and on your newsprint, just try a few until you like one of them. So now is the time that we want to color it. Do the color has to be exactly the color that we see? No, it doesn't have to be, but it can be too. Some things that I want you're doing in your first abstract work, because it's the first one, is that in the end outline your objects, all of them with the outlines. That's why I make it, and I don't want to make them very light. The other things that I want you doing is using of the mixed media. I want to use watercolor, and I want to use pastel, both of them. How you're using of the medium, it's mostly like you have to try it and see which one is working for you. For example, I'm gonna start with the in this one. I'm gonna start with the handle, and I'm making just with the pastel this one green. Remember, abstract art, it doesn't we want to make it flat, but we don't want to make it boring. Then I'm using of the 2 shade of the green on this, then it's gonna be more interesting. Okay, some things that you can do, and I'm usually do the this in the first with the watercolor, but I just want to show you that it's possible. I'm using of the yellow ochre that I have here, and so I'm not making it very wet. Control the wetness of your brush, and coming with the some kind of the making it. You can see that when you're using of the watercolor on this, it's getting just blend together. I want something lighter here. I want to keep the light value of this green that I like it. Then I'm coming with more yellow. Okay, then I'm using of the yellow to make it a little lighter here. Okay, then this is one way. This is, you can use of the ink too. Okay, this is one. The other ones that I'm usually like it is to use first watercolor or ink, then coming with the pastel on this. So I want to make this part dark. Okay, and the dark that I'm using, it's gonna be a mix of the ultramarine blue and green here. You see that this is two colors that I'm using to make it darker. And I'm gonna come with this. You have to let it get dry. Okay, I'm gonna come with this. I'm gonna cover this part with the this dark blue. I want to make it a little darker, then I'm gonna add the alizarin red to it. You know that the alizarin red can make the green darker, and it's sorry, bluish green. And I'm gonna add just some part of this a little darker with this one. And you know, I don't care that we have a line between these two. We could have, or we can make it more, you know, transition. It's up to you. For that part, for this part, I'm gonna continue again with the green and, sorry, I'm using of the sap green, and this is the color. Again, it's up to you. You don't have to use the same color that you see here. You can choose your colors. I want to just coming with this color, and you see, because it's flat, then I'm not very worried about the chiaroscuro technique. But some things that you have to look at this is it doesn't be just one color or one value. Make use of the different value on this. Let it be more interesting. And from the bottom part, I want to make it a little more darker. And we have two handles here because I like the handle. I wanted to have two. I'm gonna mix the colors a little here and let it have some just wet technique, and it's going by itself to make a you know, beautiful kind of the and free kind of the light and dark. Okay, this is the part that I want you're looking of. This is this part. Okay, my apple is red. I want to make this part red. But I don't want to continue with the red here. I want to change the color in the part that they overlap each other. And I'm gonna be a little careful. I don't want that these two colors getting together. You see, I add another part that it's look like that I can see the bottom part of the jar through it, like it's transparency, and it's not. But I want to use of the different color here. I know that it was red, but I want to have in this part, I want to have the yellow. I have to wait until it's getting dry, then it's not going to this part. I have to be just working on somewhere else. I like to have some of these reds here too, just for fun. Okay, then I'm changing the color that I see here. It's up to you. I want to have a little of the yellow ochre on this again, to don't make it just one colors, and I'm adding a little of cadmium on this too. As you see, I'm not trying to make it very three-dimensional. It should be flat. And yeah, this is that I'm doing here. For that part, what color I want? I want to have it in brown. Okay, I'm gonna follow whatever that I have. Just I'm making my brown a little with the red, and it's getting a little reddish brown. But as you see, I can back to it and adding a little blue here. Just again, I don't like you're using, or I'm using of the one value and just one value or one color. We are adding the other colors to it. So when before it's getting dry, I cannot come with the pastel on this. This part is almost dry, but not completely. And I'm using of the same brown that I use of to make this shape, this extra actually handle more brown. And again, from here to here, I want to make it yellow. The teeth that I have here, these teeth are what do you think about I have these cool and warm colors here, and some things that I want to do with this is making it very light. And I'm using mostly of the just water. Again, I'm gonna change this part, change the colors when they overlap to each other. It's gonna be more interesting. And in this part, just a little of the yellow. I'm using a little of the yellow in each part. Like that. So I'm gonna work in this part. The part that we are working with the score, I'm looking, his skull is usually white, yellowish, a little brownish, but I want to make it a little more purplish. Okay, and I want it to be more light, and I'm using of the more water, and I'm gonna make it lighter. Okay, first it's dark here, then you're gonna just let it go and be more light here, and see, just I'm trying to make it not the same. I don't want to make it 3D, but I don't want it to be the same. Then I'm using of these for the colors. And let's go to the rows that I have here. I want this part getting just violet, and I want this getting violet. I want to have a dark and some kind of the medium color here between them, then I can see them better. Okay, then this is and you see, as I'm working on this, I want to change my drawing, then you can change it. I see that I don't want all of them connected together, then I'm using of my favorite colors, turquoise, and making it a color between them. Okay, and I'm using of this color here, and I'm keeping a fine line between them because I don't want their blend to each other. Then I'm using of this water pot, I'm making it a little wider here. Then again, because it's wet, I'm gonna keep a fine line between them, and in this part okay, I rather to use of some kind of the rays, you know, like that. And I'm showing the pistils in a very simple way. So for the other part of the skull, these parts, so we can make it black, we can make it very dark or very light. It's up to you. I want to use of this dark blue. I used of the ultramarine, and I used of the burnt umber to make this dark color here. For the nasal part, I'm gonna change it to the dark, very dark green, and you know that you can use of the gradient green, and alizarin red to make it dark. So what about the part that they overlap each other? Actually, the skull overlap the um, rose. It's not completely a rose, it's just the shape. Then I want to use another colors, and I'm gonna make it, because the yellow and purples are have a very good contrast with each other. I'm using of the yellow here, and I will use this blue here. We have the shadows of the shapes, and this stem. For the stems, I'm using of this shape. So now is that we just did the basic things here for the let's make use of the larger, and just I want to have a very light color here, and I'm using of the red that I have to bring it and add the shadow here. You see that it's bleeding here, that I like it, and I'm letting it bleed here too, and using of a little more purple and blue here. So now it's time that we are back to the pastel. We just use of this again. It was first pastel, then we use of the watercolor on this, and for that one is we did the watercolor part. I want here coming and adding some part of this. You can just blend it with the water to your object, or no, you, if you don't want to blend it, just do not use of the, for example, I want to have a more like a reflection here, and put the reflection here, and I don't want to blend it, then don't blend it. Again, I want to have some kind of the reflection here to work on this. For the teeth that we have here, I want to just make some outline with the pastel. Again, I'm gonna back to first pastel here to add the pastel. You see that I'm just using of the pastel for some things that I think it's gonna make it more um, interesting drawing. Some part of this is still wet. I cannot work very good on this. You can have some pattern that you like here. I want to add pattern with then come, you can continue with a lot of the um, more pattern. You can add pattern to it. You can just working with the values, and then in the end, again, it's not completely finished, but we're gonna just finish it here. The last thing that I want to do is outline. Then forget that I always told you that do not outline your work, because here is the place that I want your outlining. Then you can use of the your charcoal pencil, or you can use of the black pastel and coming and outline it. This is just for that how you're looking up objects to make them abstract.